Welcome back to Unified Journey. Again, we have Cindy Hazier with us, and she's going to talk to us about some more herbs that we can use in our healing process. We're excited to have her back, so let's hear what she has to say this week.
Well, this week we're going to discuss something that 85% of Americans consume several servings of this every day.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? What is that?
Well, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Did you have toast? Orange juice?
I honestly don't remember. You're asking me a different question. I really don't remember what I had for breakfast.
Coffee?
Don't drink coffee.
Oh, well, then you're one of the 15% that doesn't.
Oh, we're talking about coffee?
We're talking about coffee today.
Oh, how exciting.
Yes. All of these remedies or preventative measures is all because of the chemicals and the caffeine that occurs naturally in the coffee bean. The only problem is those of us who drink their coffee tainted, as some people would say, with cream and sugar or flavored creamers, reduces the percentages a little bit of the healing properties. So if you're a black coffee drinker, that's even better. Now, caffeinated as opposed to decaffeinated, your choice. Decaffeinated reduces it just by a small fraction, a couple percentage points. But for the most part, all of these are because of the caffeine and the chemicals that occur naturally when the coffee bean is roasted and ground.
Oh, how interesting.
Yes, it's amazing that what some people would say is bad for you is actually very, very good for you and your body. For one thing, and being an asthmatic myself, I have tested this theory. If you are having an asthma attack and your inhalers are not working as well as they normally would, have a cup of coffee. Because the caffeine opens up the bronchial tubes, opens up your arteries and your veins so you get better blood flow into the lungs. And the steam from the coffee also helps open up the bronchial passages.
Wow.
Which will, if not stop the asthma attack, it will lessen the severity of it. And I have done this on several occasions, and it works.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds good. So if you drink coffee, that's a good thing in the morning.
Yes. That's what gets me breathing in the morning. Yes. It also helps reduce pain after a workout by as much as 48%.
Oh my.
By increasing
incredible.
By increasing the blood flow, which makes the muscles work better and relax better after your workout, and you experience less pain because of the increased blood flow. It also will increase the dietary fiber in your diet by as much as 1.8 grams per cup. Now, the average human needs somewhere between 25 to 30 grams of fiber in their daily diet for their body to work functional properly. And this provides 1.8 grams. So that's quite a significant portion of your diet.
Sure is. Yes.
So if you have more than 1 cup a day, that percentage goes up for every cup.
So do you have a recommended amount that you suggest people have throughout the day?
Well, some people on the studies that I have read up on say 2 to 3 cups. Others say 4 to 6 cups. So whatever your normal consumption is, 2 or more cups. Usually people have a couple of cups of coffee in the morning to get them going. Well, that's enough to do the trick for a lot of things for the rest of the day.
Okay, good to know.
Now, like I said, if you add sugar, creamer, or you go to one of the coffee houses and you have a latte, that decreases the percentage. So you want to drink it as pure as possible.
Okay.
So,
any recommendations for those of us that don't drink coffee?
Well, I would suggest maybe the caffeine tablets that they have on the market. It doesn't have the same exact properties as regular brewed coffee because it doesn't have the same chemicals in it that occur naturally in the coffee bean, but it will help.
So is there one brand of coffee that is better than another?
No, they're basically all the same.
Oh, okay.
They all come from the same type of bean.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on the roast as to which is, the different blends, like your dark roast, your morning blend, your whatever.
Right.
I swear by a medium roast because it doesn't get real strong when it brews, and it's a nice rounded flavor. Works great. So,
Oh, good.
whatever your particular preference is for your type of coffee, just if you can stay away from
like you said, so many people drink coffee. I was in a family of 5. I'm the only one that didn't drink coffee, and I tried, but for years I tried like the flavored coffee, like Bavarian mint and some of those European types of coffee, and I was able to kind of get those down pretty well, so that when I went to coffee break with the rest of the people in the office, I actually had coffee. Is that good or bad?
Actually, those are nothing more than just per can a couple of scoops of instant coffee that's been ground real fine, and then all your flavorings and your cream and your sugar in it. There's more bad stuff in it than there is good.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm not doing that anymore.
No. They're really not all that good for you because the sugar content in them is very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have any instances of proclivity to diabetes or high blood pressure, those are not good for you.
Okay.
So try and stay away from them. It is also a good protector of cirrhosis of the liver, unless, of course, you are an alcoholic, and then there's, not a lot out there that they can do for you,
right,
other than cut back on the alcohol. But because of the increased blood flow from the caffeine in it, it's what clears out your liver and doesn't let it develop the disease quite as easily. If you're prone to it because of family members and it's hereditary, there isn't much you can do about it, but it will slow it down if you consume the coffee.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
And it does this with the increased blood flow, it flushes out the harmful enzymes that are readily living in your liver, so it flushes out the excess, which is what causes the cirrhosis.
Mm-hmm.
It also lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes.
Really?
Yes, it will lower your A1C
mm-hmm.
by drinking coffee because of the increased blood flow, once again, and everything revolves around the increased blood flow. It will help flush out the bad things in your body that will cause the diabetes and keep the pancreas in better working order, which is what causes diabetes, is because your pancreas ceases to function properly.
Mm-hmm.
So the body isn't creating natural insulin, so you need to go on the insulin or the pills to help create that insulin in your body to fight the excess sugar and the excess carbs. So this is a good thing. And there are so many people out there that they are finding, because of our majorly messed up diet anymore, the fast food and the fast coffees and eating late at night and not exercising properly, more and more of your older generation, 50 and above, are developing type 2 diabetes later in life because of the sedentary life they lead, the fast food. It's all boils around your diet, and this, by drinking coffee, will help flush out all the bad stuff that you've been consuming in a day. I know by trying to put different things into my diet and not eat as much red meat and not eat as many carbs, my A1C has gone down and my cholesterol level has gone way down.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And I consume probably 6, maybe 7 cups of coffee in a day.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I use flavored creamer in it, but still I'm getting the benefits of the consumption. So it's helping my health a hell of a lot better. Oops, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It also will lower your risk of developing Alzheimer's and dementia because of the increased blood flow to the brain. It flushes out the enzymes that build up brain, what they call brain plaque, which is what causes the Alzheimer's, so that the synapses in your brain don't function as readily because it's like putting a cover over them so they can't connect. So therefore you start developing the memory loss, the Alzheimer's, and the coffee increasing the blood flow, opening up the veins and arteries, helps flush all that out. So it's
Well, you do hear about that on almost every diet that I've ever heard about or read. They've always said you can drink coffee and tea.
because of the caffeine in it. Now, if you're a big soda drinker, try and stay away from it because you're consuming all that sugar. And
Right.
they're finding that the diet sodas that everybody thought was so much better for you is in actuality very, very bad for you because they're finding that the aspartame and the artificial sweeteners in them is causing more harm than it's doing good.
Yes. They do have new sodas out there that are made with real sugar, too. I've noticed that recently.
But then again, you're getting an excess amount
Right.
of sugar.
And we don't need that sugar.
No.
That's right.
That's what puts on excess weight. That's what causes the body to quit functioning as properly. So you want to stay away from that.
Well, and the carbonation in the water is really bad for you as well. It's just really not a good thing to consume.
No. I don't drink soda, and I try to keep the family's soda consumption at a minimal. So I swear by iced tea, which does have the caffeine in it. Doesn't have as much as a cup of coffee.
Right.
But you are still getting the enhanced benefits of the caffeine, even though you're drinking tea.
Right. I really do like my herbal teas.
They're very good for you, depending on which ones you're drinking, because you're not only getting the caffeine, but you're also getting the benefits of the healing herbs that are in there. And one of the best out there to drink on a regular basis would be a cup of Earl Grey. Because it's got the caffeine in it, the natural caffeine from the tea, and it's got a healing herb called bergamot in it.
Oh, we're going to have a class on that, aren't we?
Yes, we're going to have a class on bergamot. It's a very good healing herb.
Oh, good.
So it's a very good way to boost the powers of the caffeine by backing it up with some herbs. It also will reduce the tendencies toward suicide and depression in women.
Really?
Yes. Because of the increased blood flow, the brain functions better. You can function at a higher level. You don't sit there and worry about things that aren't going to happen, which causes the depression, which causes you to go into the suicide mode. And women with 4 or more cups of coffee a day, it is 20% less likely that they will develop depression or suicide thoughts. So, drink coffee.
Okay.
It's also a protection against Parkinson's disease.
Really?
Yeah. Once again, the excess blood flow helps keep the nerves healthy, helps keep the brain healthy, which is where the Parkinson's develops. It's a nerve disease. And it even, with a predisposition like family heritage, it's in your genes and your genetics, it even helps prevent it if you are predisposed to Parkinson's because of family developing it. So you might want to take into consideration drinking coffee instead of taking the medicine that it's not all that good for you either. And you know that I am a big advocate for the healing herbs, all natural and
Right.
not killing your body with all the chemicals that are in the drugs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
don't let the pharmaceuticals hear me. You will also develop less of a risk of heart disease. Once again, the increased blood flow, the heart doesn't have to work as hard. So therefore, because it's not working as hard, it's not building up plaque in the arteries. It's keeping the cholesterol down where it's not building up in your arteries as well.
Uh-huh.
And by doing that, it reduces what they call the calcification of the arteries, which is basically the plaque that develops.
Uh-huh.
So instead of taking the blood thinners and the heart medicine, drink a cup of coffee.
Uh-huh.
So it's just wonderful.
Now, does it make a difference whether that coffee is hot or cold?
No,
Okay.
not at all. If you prefer a cup of iced coffee over a cup of hot coffee, that's fine. Just don't put a bunch of...
I know that I have read this before, that we do have to be careful of the temperatures of the food and drinks that we put into our bodies.
Yes.
Because if it's too hot, we're burning all the way down. And sometimes we feel that. We know that it's doing that.
Oh, yes.
And other times it's the same with cold, that if you go too cold, it can cause damage on its way down too.
Well, not only that, but if it's too cold, like when you eat a dish of ice cream and you get brain freeze.
Right.
That's not good for your brain.
Right.
Because the blood flow is cut off, which is why you get the sudden headache. The brain doesn't have any nourishment to function on because the arteries constrict because of the cold.
Right.
But the best way to cure that is just to put your tongue up against the roof of your mouth and hold it there for about 30 seconds.
You know, I've done that, and I work with elderly people, and I've told them too that if you do get that sensation of a brain freeze, is take your tongue and rub it on the top of your
On the roof of your mouth?
the roof of your mouth and warm it up.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. It works.
Yes, which in turn not only warms up the roof of your mouth, but it warms up the blood that is flowing there, which is going to flow through the arteries up to your brain. And within a few minutes after doing that, you've noticed that your headache will subside.
And it won't be as bad.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. It has less risk of a heart disease, so it's very good for you for
Mm-hmm.
that. Which will lower your blood pressure as well. They say that consuming too much caffeine is going to raise your blood pressure. Well, the only reason it raises your blood pressure is because your blood pressure was so low to start with,
Mm-hmm.
and making the heart work harder because you've got all this calcification and plaque in your
Mhm.
veins, so it has to pump twice as hard to pump the blood through your body. So you want to get rid of that plaque,
Uh-huh.
so drink coffee.
Okay.
It will help because then it opens up the veins and arteries, which allows the blood to flow more freely, which allows the blood to flush out that plaque so that it flushes out through the body and you get rid of it naturally instead of it building up and you have to have it flushed out with drugs.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It also will lower the risk of multiple sclerosis, which is amazing because multiple sclerosis, like Parkinson's disease, is mostly hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
And once it gets its hold on you, there's no stopping it. Drugs can ease the effects and give you a longer life, but at what cost? You know, you've got the drugs fighting the disease, which is extending
Right.
your life, which is extending your pain. And so what it does, it reduces the neural inflammation, which is what causes the multiple sclerosis. Your brain ceases to function properly,
Mm-hmm.
like Parkinson's, like Alzheimer's. They're all tied in together as nerve and brain diseases. So if you are drinking something or you are eating something that is going to help with the blood flow, you're going to reduce your risks of developing the disease.
Mm-hmm.
which will prolong your life naturally, and you can spend more time with your family and your grandkids, and so it's a wonderful thing. If you can stay away from the drugs and do the natural way, it's the best way.
Oh, I agree with that. And I think a lot of our viewers do too.
200 years ago, even 100 years ago, we didn't have heart medicine. We didn't have medicine for Alzheimer's, for Parkinson's. People ate a healthier diet because they ate all natural foods, and they consumed the healing herbs. And then all of a sudden, aspirin and penicillin and all that was introduced into our gene pool, and everything has gone downhill.
Right.
But now a lot more doctors are going the natural way, once again going back to the old ways. Instead of prescribing a bunch of drugs, it's just watch your diet, eat this, don't eat that.
Right.
And people are genuinely getting better instead of putting a bunch of chemicals into their body that they don't need.
Well, I think you're right, and I think they're definitely looking at the holistic aspects of it, of healing the whole body, the whole person, not just the symptoms and taking a pill to make the symptoms go away, but the whole body.
Yes, because
and the doc and Western medicine is starting to acknowledge that and respect it and bring that into the treatments. I had not too long ago, one of my clients went to the doctor and they encouraged them to take fish oil and a couple of other supplements along with their diet. They're in their 80s. They're taking no medication other than the few supplements that have been prescribed to them by Western medicine, which is a surprise. Most doctors don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
So when you find somebody that does, it's really nice it's very refreshing.
Well, the Chinese have known this for hundreds of years, and they practice the holistic healing and just eating good, basic, homegrown foods.
Right.
And using the herbs the way they're supposed to be. And they're some of the healthiest people on earth.
Right.
Because they don't have all the chemical drugs that the Western world has.
Right.
And their doctors, you got a headache? Here, let me press this spot on your body and it'll go away. They use the ancient ways. And it's refreshing, like you said, to see it finally coming to the Western world, and we're actually trying to go back to the old ways.
Well, change is always difficult. We understand
Yes,
that. And so you got to take one step at a time, precept upon precept, and start wherever is comfortable. And as you become more and more comfortable with it, you crave those changes. It's unlike any other change that we have to go through.
Yes, your body decides that this is good for it, and I don't want them chemicals interfering with my function because I'm doing just fine without them.
Right.
So your body rejects it, and you start back at square one, and you feel terrible.
Well, and those things that we used to crave, all of a sudden now, since we haven't had it for a while, we'll go back, oh, I'm going to treat myself, I'm going to have some of this. And then it's like, ooh, I don't like the way my body feels now that I've had that. Yeah, it was good when I started, but not so good now. And then we start turning away from it and away from it. And that brings me to another question. In a lot of fast food, there's all kinds of fillers and supplements and stuff, and also in the packaged foods that we buy in the grocery store. How about coffee? Does it have any kind of things that we should look for in there that we don't want?
Most of the coffees on the market have no additives. They are just the pure ground coffee beans. If you question or have doubts about, say, Folgers or Maxwell House or whatever one you consume, get the unground beans and grind them yourself.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't take much. You can get a little food grinder, $15, $20 at Walmart, and it will grind the coffee beans to any grind you want. Depends on how long you grind them.
Okay.
You could grind them clear down to a fine powder to make it an instant coffee if you wanted to.
Okay.
It's a little
Interesting.
bit more on the expensive side than the pre-ground,
Uh-huh.
but it's better for you because you know that those coffee beans are good.
Right.
They don't have any additives other than what they use to roast them. And most of the roasting capabilities are roasting basically over an open flame in an oven, almost like a pizza oven.
Oh, uh-huh. Is that how they do it?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
And so all that is quite natural. So, if you don't want to buy the pre-ground, grind your own. It's just very simple. Even if you
Okay.
have like a Cuisinart, it'll
Mhm.
work.
Oh, really?
hmm
Okay.
So,
Good.
um, it will also lower the risk of colorectal and liver cancer by 26 to 29%. Unless, of course, you have generations of ancestors that, have suffered from that particular cancer. It will still
Right.
lessen your chance of developing a cancer. Um, it will also lessen your chance of developing other cancers um, because of the increased blood flow and your body getting healthier and healthier because of it. The cancer doesn't have a chance to grab on and hold, and the tumor doesn't have a chance to make its hard shell around it, which makes
Uh-huh.
it more difficult to get rid of. So if
Okay.
you can um, avoid chemotherapy,
Well, who wouldn't want to do that?
yeah,
That's awful.
yes, I have experienced it. I don't want to say firsthand because it wasn't me, but my granddaughter has gone through chemotherapy for cancer twice. She is a 2-time cancer survivor, and you'd never know it to look at her.
Mm-hmm. No, she's very sweet.
And if I could go back in time and start feeding her more healthy, because she was a very picky eater at 3,
Uh-huh.
but what toddler isn't? If I could have gone back knowing what I know now about the herbs I've researched and the foods and gotten her off to fast food, her favorite thing to do was go to McDonald's. But,
I think every kid does.
oh, yes.
And they used to really advertise trying to lure you in. I mean, those of us that are older, we remember the whole Big Mac attack commercials
Oh, yes.
and all of that. And it really was enticing. It really was enticing and bringing you in. It was a subconscious manipulation is
And
what it was.
what's better than going through the drive-through at McDonald's or Burger King or whatever fast food joint you want to go to, grabbing dinner for the family, going home. It's ready the minute you get there. You don't have to cook. You have hardly any cleanup, no dishes to do.
Well, I don't know. Living is kind of important to me.
Yes, living is kind of important. Living
I'm
and
not
breathing.
big on McDonald's. I mean, I went through my McDonald's phase, I think, with everyone else. But I just know my body does not react well to whatever is in the food.
I eat a
So.
hamburger from any fast food joint that is made with beef, and I suffer for 3 or 4 days afterwards because I have pretty much, except for the rare occasion when we have like tacos or something at home and we
Right.
make them, I have pretty much cut red meat out of my diet. I eat turkey and chicken, and
Right.
that's about it. Pork on occasion. I eat the white meats. Red meat maybe once or twice a month. And I can tell when I've had the red meat.
I feel sluggish when
Yes.
I've had red meat. I'm real
I
tired
feel,
all the time.
yes, I feel
sluggish.
over full. I
Right.
could go to McDonald's and get just a simple little cheeseburger that they have in the Happy Meals for kids,
Right.
and I eat that, and it's just like I feel like I've eaten a 9-course meal.
Uh-huh.
And of course, not to mention the greasy fries that go with it,
Right.
all those unsaturated fats.
You know, I was in Las Vegas not long ago, and my girlfriend took me out for lunch, and we went to Sweet Tomato. I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you get to Las Vegas, I'm saying right now, go to Sweet Tomato. It's like by far the best restaurant I've ever been to. It's a salad bar for the most part. And I did not see any meats in there when I was there. They may have some that I didn't particularly see, but most everything was all strictly vegetables and oh, the best tasting ever. It was so good. And
Yeah,
I
that's
ranted and raved the whole time I was there. I thought my girlfriend, her name was Linda too. And I thought she just laughed at me because I was just so excited about this place. I wish that Bullhead City would bring a Sweet Tomato here. I really do.
well, we used to have a salad place up in Fort Mojave.
I thought we did for a while.
You could go up there and you could have a salad made to order, and they'd put the dressing on the side. You could dress it yourself when you got home. And I used to go up there quite frequently for my mother and I.
Uh-huh.
And I'd get one of their big salads, and of course I'd have a list of what we all wanted on it.
Right.
We pretty much liked the same thing. I'd come up and split the salad between the two of us, and there would still be leftovers.
Oh, wow.
And it was one of the best salad places I have ever been to, even
Right.
places that have fabulous salad bars. This was better, but you've got to be real careful when you go to salad bars because some restaurants are not real careful about how they wash their vegetables.
Uh-huh.
They'll use the chemical washes on them, and you've got to be real careful because those aren't good for you either.
Right. I don't know, but I would think Sweet Tomato doesn't do that because they're very, very organic based food. They did have soups and stuff, but as far as I know, they had no meats in those. And then they talked about them, like they had breads and stuff that were gluten free, and they had like little advertisements on or notes above them why this was a good food for you to eat. So I mean, they were very health conscious.
Sounds
Of
like
that.
a very good restaurant to try next time I go up to
Oh,
Vegas.
by all means, it's called Sweet Tomato. Wonderful place. I don't know who decided to come up with this idea, but it was brilliant. And I wish they bring it to Bullhead.
There should be more of them all over the place. People would start getting back to the natural eating and the fruits and vegetables.
Well, I think a lot of times we want to do that, but just like you said, when you work an 8-hour day, and both husband and wife work 8 hours or sometimes more, they come home, they have their children, they have to get something quick so they can spend some quality time
Mhm.
with them before it's time for them to go to bed and start the day over again.
Yeah.
And so it would be nice to have some place that we could go that offered a healthy choice.
Yes.
I agree.
I wholeheartedly.
And right now I can't think of any.
I can't either. This will also prevent cavities and periodontal disease. How it does it, I really don't know, other than the fact that it would wash the bacteria out of your mouth as you're drinking the plain black coffee. Of course, it's not going to be as efficient with the cream and sugar as the flavored creamers,
Right.
because then once again you've got something that's going to create bacteria in your mouth. But yeah, it does that. So if you're drinking coffee on a regular basis, and if you're eating healthy, your chances of having gingivitis or any periodontal disease is greatly reduced,
Mm-hmm.
and which will make your dentist happy.
Absolutely.
Yes.